Welcome to the EarthWorks Podcast, where our team will share the jargon of carbon from many of our turf friends from the past 30 years.
What up, EarthWorks people? Welcome to the EarthWorks Podcast. This week, I'm your host, Jack Higgins, and you have tuned into the Plant Healthcare Special. That's right, the PHC EarthWorks Podcast Special. I had the pleasure of exhibiting at the TCIA Expo. That's the Tree Care Industry Expo. It was held in Baltimore about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and it was really fascinating. I was joined by my buddy and customer, Bobby Solar. Great guy. He was on the EarthWorks podcast in the first year of the podcast, I believe. He's a wealth of knowledge as an arborist and really in all of the PHC realm. And I really love learning about that stuff because, first of all, you just see so much different response in all these other kind of plants and all these ornamentals and trees, from soil applications, from biological applications, particularly. C3 gets used a lot, and Bobby's going to talk quite a bit about what he's done with C3 in this realm. So he joined me in the booth, and we actually recorded the interview from the booth there at the TCIA in Baltimore. It was really cool. This is a giant association and a giant trade show with some really interesting equipment, but also there's a whole need and a whole desire for good organic and biologically driven PHC care, or rather plant health care. They're looking for this in this industry. So it was cool to be there. Met a lot of really great people and some cool prospects, cool things to happen in this realm. So Bobby kind of gets into some great specifics. If you heard him before, he is a passionate and data-driven guy that really knows the details. So he's going to talk quite a bit about his findings treating this beech leaf disease that is starting to ravage beech trees in the Northeast, particularly Mid-Atlantic Northeast. So it's treatable, but the treatment is a large volume xylem application. So where they're actually injecting into the xylem and taking in fungicide, but it requires an enormous amount of volume of solution to be sure that it gets everywhere. And Bobby's going to explain all of this. But basically, the arborists spend a whole days babysitting the application because it can be so slow for that much volume to be taken up by the beech tree. And what Bobby's found is that with his favorite product and my favorite product, C3, he has greatly shortened, in fact, by 50% or more, the uptake time, because the tree is just so much more active when it was treated prior with C3 that it just sucks up this volume. And in the fall time of the year right now, he's seeing all of these treated trees hold on to color and hold on to their leaves much later. And all of this is about, storing that carbohydrate reserve and storing that energy so that it comes out of the spring really, really healthy. And, for many of you that have been in this drought-stricken areas of the country this fall, many of us have seen rain in the last week or two. It's been nice. And kind of just in time, I think there was a lot of green up in turf where there was kind of some fertilizer and fertility and energy waiting to go. So this bit of soil moisture has really helped, and it's really helped in trees as well. And Bobby's going to kind of talk about what he saw in terms of this really droughty time of year. So enjoy this conversation. It's maybe, you'll hear that we're on the booth and it's like a little kind of exciting and stuff going on. And but it's fun, and this is a really exciting bit, and I think a lot that we can all learn about listening in and kind of dialing into this plant healthcare realm harder, because there's so many indications, from flowers and new leaf out and everything. So, there's so many indications in the plants, so it's really cool. So enjoy this conversation with Bobby Solar, and thank you for tuning into the EarthWorks podcast. You'll be seeing us all winter at the conferences and trade shows, and we look forward to seeing you. So thank you very much. Hello all, and welcome to the EarthWorks podcast. I am live from the TCIA trade show. That is the Tree Care Industry Association Expo in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm sitting down with my man, Bobby Solar. Bobby.
How you doing?
Good, buddy. How you
Good to
doing?
be here. Glad you guys made it.
Oh, yeah. You've been asking me to come here for years.
Almost a decade. No, not quite. Maybe like 7 years.
A long time.
Yeah, no, the first one I tried to get you guys to was 18.
Right. Was that the one in Pittsburgh?
No, Pittsburgh was 19.
Okay, yeah.
And then 20, there wasn't one because of COVID.
Right.
21, you had to be, again, you had to have a lot of restrictions. Then 22 was in Charlotte. That was a fun one.
And this is great, dude. They're a great association and like a giant trade show.
Yeah, in the beginning, it was more geared toward climbing people, like small, like ergonomic tools, and now it's just all machines. It's, lifts, tree mechs. Well, it's grapples, it's equipment that moves stuff, and there is some plant healthcare too.
Well, we're here for plant healthcare,
exactly.
Yeah, and
Soil
that's
care.
what you like. You were pushing me because you're like, this is a major need.
There's no organic soil nutrition company here
at all.
I'm talking like full organic.
Right.
They have organic products, but they also sell.
There's Doggett.
Yeah, Doggett's. Yeah, they got some good stuff too.
And there's like plant food, and like these are the fertilizer companies here. But you're right. There's no like organic companies here. So plus like there just aren't that many plant health care people here in general. But we're very busy because everyone's asking. Yeah.
I mean, most of the plant health care are your big chemical companies, pesticides, and soil care. You guys are specifically soil, which is perfect. Right. And I think you guys have a niche that nobody else has hit yet. Yeah. And now it's here. You saw yesterday and today already. I mean, how many people came up and saw organic and was like, hey.
Oh yeah, big time.
Especially with like all the pesticide bans and fertilizer bans all around Chesapeake Bay.
Well, and I want to fit in with like how our stuff is used in the real world, like in tree care, and that like it can get used with pesticides the same way it does in turf. Like you don't have to be a fully organic company to use EarthWorks.
No.
In fact, like that was one of the key things I wanted to talk with you about, because you've been telling these great stories about applications against what is it, a beech disease?
Beech leaf disease. Yeah, it's starting to pretty much ravage through the Northeast, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio. It's starting to get into Virginia. It's in Maryland.
And it's a fungus.
Yeah, so it's a nematode that gets into the leaf, and then my understanding is that it creates this through its saliva. It creates this fungus, kind of like Dutch elm disease did back in the 70s and 80s.
Got it.
So then the leaves basically drop premature, branches die off, and then you basically have a dead tree in your yard.
So like, yes, in that it's a nematode, like it starts with, it's a double like vector sort of thing. Like it's a nematode that injures the plant that then causes a fungus.
Right.
Wow.
And most nematodes we normally go after are in the soil, and these are actually like on the plant, like on the surface, which is
we
crazy.
call that the phylosphere, dude. Yeah, the phylosphere. Like we do concern ourselves a whole lot with the rhizosphere, and we are a soil company, rhizosphere around the root, but there's a whole biological system that exists on the leaf surface and the stem surface, the plant surface itself. That's called the phylosphere, and that's a whole nother topic. But what we're talking about is you've been treating for this this beech disease. It's
through the xylem. We basically mix gallons of water with ounces of material. It's called a macro infusion.
Okay.
So the micro infusions are the small. They're usually done in milliliters.
Okay.
So milliliter of product, milliliter of water, which is tiny.
Sure, sure.
120 milliliters is 4 ounces. That's not a whole lot.
And those are also xylem injections.
Right.
So you have two options with xylem injections, like macro, a whole lot of volume, or like you said, or the micro. Okay.
And I can send you some pictures too. And with the macro, it's larger volume, takes longer. Most micro infusions take between 5 and 20 minutes. Could take a little bit longer depending on the tree, but typically 20 minutes.
Okay.
Or less.
Why is it that you have to use this a lot of volume
because
for
the
this
volume,
disease?
Because they need to have enough product in the tree to fully translocate.
And it has to go fully systemic. It's
yeah.
gotta,
Yeah, and it takes a while, and it's really new data. There's not a lot of information yet. We know through several, I know some colleges are on it, some pesticide companies are on it, doing their own research. And so that the macro infusions right now, we know for a fact they last 2 years.
Okay.
That's all we have for data is 2 years worth of data.
Got it.
So it's new. Nobody really knows a whole lot about it other than, the basic, like.
But 2 years is great. Like if you could treat a tree and it be safe for 2 years. All right, so let's get to the crux of how how EarthWorks fits into this, because you told me this cool story that it being a lot of volume, it takes a long time for the tree to uptake this fungicide.
So instead of taking like 15, 20 minutes, it takes hours, 2 hours.
Because you're pumping like 4 or 5 gallons of volume.
Or more, depending on the tree. Like,
man.
So typically you use 51.2 ounces of water per inch of diameter.
Whoa.
And that ounces add up quick.
Whoa,
you got a 30-inch tree, you're putting in 9-10 gallons of water.
Whoa.
Through a 3/8 hole, or not even that, it's 9/30/64, something like that, 9/32 hole.
Into the xylem.
Hole. Yeah.
Right, got it. So it takes a long time.
Yeah, it takes hours.
Okay. Now you found something interesting, because the logistics of doing that are not easy for the plant healthcare operator. Like to wait around. Now you're like jockeying around trees, waiting. How much equipment do you have?
You can only do one tree at a time.
Yeah.
Because you got to be able to watch that tree. If there's a leak, you got to stop it.
Oh, geez,
you don't want
annoying.
the stuff dumping on the ground. So you can only do one tree. So like a lot of the properties we do, there's 5, 6, 8, trees. So you're there all day, 9 hours.
Yeah. How do I speed this up?
Right. So I tried. First, my colleague Ty.
Okay.
He had a property that had his house had 5 beech trees that had treated with C3 in mid-August, and then we were there in mid-October and treated them.
So you did your C3 application in middle of August. You were there in October to do the leaf.
Right,
disease.
and it was just pure coincidence that they had done it. So flash, back up a few days, on the 10th of October, we did 5 trees in Pennsylvania, and it took 9 hours and I'm a numbers guy. 9 hours and 12 minutes.
Okay.
To do 5 trees that totaled 93 total inches. Of diameter.
Got it.
And we did Ty's trees, 5 trees, 113 inches, so 20 more inches, 112.
Right.
It took 4 hours and 16 minutes.
Half the time.
Almost, yeah.
Wow. More diameter took half the time.
Right. Now, a lot of that does play into the tree's ability to absorb the material.
But
both the C3 and the fungicide.
Okay.
The genetics play into that. You can have a tree that's doing great, looks great, and its draw could be really slow. But as another test at my house.
Right. So you saw something here and you were like, all right, I'm going to try something. Yeah, I'm going to try something, because these trees that got treated with C3 2 months prior uptook this material much faster in October.
So I have 3 at my place I did, and they were 26 inch was the first one.
Okay.
They were all still beautiful green leaves, so they were translocating fine. One was a 26 inch. Took 3 hours and 47 minutes for that one tree.
Yo.
So I did another one with C3. I C3'd on the 15th. Came back on, I don't have the date. I came back on the...
I think you said it was 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I thought I was more prepared than this. Sorry.
You're a detail guy, dude. You like them details.
Gotta have the data, man.
Yeah.
The 23rd of October.
Okay, so what was it? What?
So 8 days.
Oh, only 8 days later. Got it.
And I did a 28-inch tree, larger than 26. I used 140 gallons of water with C3 at the 1%.
Okay.
Uptake time was 1 hour and 51 minutes.
Yo.
So not quite half.
But much less.
But, well, actually more than half. Yeah. Well, 2 hours. Yeah, almost half. Yeah, because it's 341 to 151.
Damn, dude.
And the other tree was a 34-inch.
Right.
And that took even less time because on that one I did a 2% rate.
A higher rate of C3.
Higher rate of C3. A 34-inch did 1 hour and 36 minutes.
Oh, so what are we seeing here? Yeah.
There's something in C3 that helps draw material in the tree. It makes react. The tree is like reacting to, hey, let's drink, let's go, let's move water. And if we're putting water in the xylem, it's going to take it up.
Even though that tree was treated with C3 2 months prior, 8 days prior, like significantly prior. Even the 8 days is significantly prior to this application. The tree is still that much more vigorous, is what we're saying. To be able to uptake
in October.
Yeah, that's crazy. In October,
when trees are starting to, we've had a couple frosts.
Yeah,
but the leaves are still green, a little bit of yellow on the outside, but all the internal leaves are still green. They're still making food.
That's the key. That's kind of what we talk about in all of our plant health care and in turf, is that if you can have an active plant in the fall, you're setting up for the next year.
For next year.
Yeah, exactly. And if your plant's not active in the fall, which this fall with the drought that we've had on the East Coast, there's going to be a lot of hurting plants next spring because all of that activity that it was doing, storing energy, wasn't happening.
Well, yeah, we didn't look. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I know where I live, we've had, other than Hurricane Helene, we had no rain.
Yeah, zero.
All summer. We went 68 days without a drop of rain. Hurricane Helene came, dumped 2 feet of rain or more. And then we've had maybe one shower since then.
Yeah.
So another 45, 50 days of no rain.
Right. So, and these trees that you've treated with C3 are holding on to color.
Dude, I've got river birches that are still green, not a single leaf on them that have turned color yet. My beech trees that I injected and used C3 at my house, they're still green-ish. They're starting to turn. All the other ones have defoliated months ago. Or not a month, probably about 3-4 weeks ago.
Oh, I mean, we're talking to people here about how easy it is to use as well.
It's very user-friendly.
It's super user-friendly. It tank mixes up really well. It's easy to remember how to use it. The 1-1-1, 1% solution, 1 gallon of solution per 1-inch DBH, or on a shrub, 1 foot height of shrubbery. It's so it's, you don't have much to remember.
Yeah, you've got you can drench it, you can soil inject it.
Yes, you can foliar spray it.
You could, yes.
Yeah, you could put it on the foliage.
I'll tell you another product, another situation, boxwood blight.
Okay. Oh yeah, boxwood blight.
Taking out boxwoods left and right.
Right.
And I've noticed that in the recovery process, some recover, some don't. It's one of those things. It's it's going to work or it's not. And, I've got a couple properties that we do boxwood blight sprays on, and I don't know if I have any photos. I'll find them if I do. The regrowth after was astonishing. I mean, now mostly on the Americans. The English ones, they didn't like it. They didn't really accept it really well, and they kind of just died off. Like the Justin Browers, they did better when I did the 2%, which is 2 gallons per 100.
Right.
Which is double the label.
Yeah.
But you gave me permission to test it.
I sure did, dude.
But boxwood blight, I've noticed a huge change in regrowth using the 2%.
Okay.
So boxwoods that were damaged, long as you're spraying the fungicide, controlling the pathogen as best you can, and then coming in and feeding it, that's just drenches. And I have a homemade shrub gun, and I basically put it all over the foliage onto the ground, into the roots, because they're shallow rooted. There's no need to do the injection.
No, you go right past it.
And
Those
I will
boxwoods
find the
do
photos.
those
But there's these
lateral
Justin
roots.
Browers, and they're about maybe that big.
10
And
inches.
they're planted in like a maze.
Okay.
And they were see-through. You know, they look horrible. And then they had some variegated boxes in the center. It just started showing. And then 6 months later, doing the C3 once a month.
Excellent. At a higher rate. At
a higher rate. All the growth came back.
Oh, that's big, man. I mean, and we talk about this like it's a high rate. It's still cheap.
Oh my God. Especially if you get the totes.
Yeah. In the big sizing, yeah. So the tote pricing is really good, and then you're using 1 gallon in a 1% solution. So like you're using 1.25 ounces per 1 inch, 1.25 ounces of product per 1 inch. So product goes a long way, you know. And you had mentioned like that it's the cheapest indicator of what could be a disease. You said you use it that way. Like if you treat the plant with C3 and you're not seeing a response, then it's an indicator that there's something else that we need to investigate.
Yeah, if the plant's struggling and you tried fungicides and you tried other stuff, you know, I'm a huge advocate of testing the soil.
Right.
Because
knowing what you have, what your limiting factors are in the soil are huge for putting together a program to grow.
Right, yeah. There's a colleague of mine years ago. His name was Troy Thornburg. He would always say recommendations like before results is malpractice.
There you go.
So without the data, and I'm a huge data guy.
Yes.
But in the meantime, C3 is a soil conditioner.
Mm-hmm.
I will try that. I take my soil samples, try C3. And while the results come back, it takes weeks.
Yeah.
And then I know what the soil is lacking. And 9 times out of 10, if the plant responds positively, then that might have been all that was necessary. Or if it doesn't respond, something else is going on. It could be a vascular issue. It could be borers, insects. It could be a disease. It could be root rot.
Yeah.
In this way, you know, I've had with root rot, rhododendrons.
Mm-hmm.
There's Subdue. We use that. It's a product we use for root rot.
That's used in the turf industry quite a bit
too. And I mix it with C3.
Excellent.
Huge difference in the uptake. Huge difference in the results.
Right.
I've showed you the rhododendron.
Oh, dude.
Hedge.
Oh, just like a mountain of flowers.
And those are the ones I told you in our last podcast and years ago. They were like, they look like crap. We don't really want them. They never flower. I'm like, why don't they flower? Test the soil. The results were fine. The pH was perfect. A lot of macronutrients, but not a lot of micronutrients.
The picture you showed me, dude, you could not see a leaf. No. You couldn't see a leaf. It was just all flowers.
And I mean, that hedge was 250 some feet.
Holy cow.
I mean, I went through, I don't know how many jugs, at least 6 or 8 jugs of C3.
Yes, but I love that, dude.
But that was a long, and they're tall. Those shrubs, those rhododendrons, it's very, the photo doesn't do it justice. Those shrubs are 15 feet, 20 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
There's a maple right next to it.
Think about how old those plants are.
Oh, yeah. So the lady that owns it, her mother planted them when she was a baby.
Okay.
And her mother, not baby, but like a child, like 6, 7 years old.
Got it.
Her mother's in her 80s now, so 70 years.
70-year-old plant.
And they've done great up until a couple of years ago. Well, up at the time, up until a few years before I got on the property. But yeah, it's wall-to-wall flowers.
It's an impressive.
And what's even better is they are, at the time, I don't know if they still do, but they had a huge honeybee, like, I don't know what you call it, like a reserve or a farm or whatever.
Right.
I mean, boxes and boxes of honeybees. And
now the honeybees have got all these flowers.
Yeah, and so like I asked them, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm a huge guy on data. How are the honeybees responding? Is it affecting them negatively or positively?
Yes.
Is it safe?
Yes.
And she said that they've had just normal, dieback, honeybees die like everything else.
Right.
But she said that she never saw any negative effects.
Like we have a strong hive here.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
So
That's
it doesn't
great.
hurt the honeybees from
No, it doesn't
that
hurt.
one situation. You know what I mean?
Bro, it doesn't hurt.
No,
the
I know
honeybees.
that, but it's just like honeybees are delicate.
Yes, for sure.
If it's hurting honeybees, it's gonna hurt.
Right,
What else
right.
it's gonna
Good
do?
point. Good point.
But
Well, that's good, man. I appreciate it. Well, I always love talking to you, and I am very grateful for you
I
pulling
am
me here.
thrilled that you guys are here.
Good deal, dude. Thank you,
You gotta
Bobby.
maybe next time you should bring Joel.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have more people here, and because this has been fun, and we're meeting a lot of great customers. You know,
It's awesome.
great potential here.
I'm
so
excited for you guys.
thank you, Bobby.
Appreciate it, man. Be
All
well.
right.